Joining us now, George Conway, conservative lawyer and president of the Society for the Rule of Law, and Mary McCord, former acting assistant attorney general for national security at the Justice Department and MSNBC legal analyst. She's also co-host of the Main Justice podcast. George, Mary, welcome back to The Weekend. I am so itching to talk about a Trump Truth Social post about January 6th, but let's stick to what the former vice president was saying in response to Eugene about the rule of law. Let's play this sound from Tuesday when a very contentious Attorney General Pam Bondi responded to this question from Senator Amy Klobuchar.
The president said, "We can't delay any longer, Pam, using your name. Not bringing criminal charges are killing our reputation," his words, "and credibility." And then goes on to tell you to prosecute a member of this committee, to prosecute the Attorney General of New York, and to prosecute James Comey. Do you consider that a directive to the Justice Department?
Senator Klobuchar, President Trump is the most transparent president in American history, and I don't think he said anything that he hasn't said for years.
George, you had to have known that I was setting this up for you. Just hold forth, because that is,
yeah, he is transparent.
Comedy.
He's transparently corrupt. He's transparently contemptuous of the rule of law. He's transparently using the government to seek retribution. He's transparently violating his oath of office. He makes no bones about it. And that's, I agree with Pam Bondi. He's transparent.
But that last part of the sentence, and I don't think he said anything that he hasn't said for years, is also very, very telling, Mary, right? Because the question was, is the president of the United States abusing the rule of law against his political enemies? And I don't think he said anything he hasn't said for years, right? That is the attorney general of this country basically ceding the point. She didn't say that he wasn't doing it. Right. They accused him of doing it.
Yeah. He was clear when he campaigned. I will be your retribution, right? He didn't, to George's point, he was transparent. And I think here, transparency is important to the rule of law because it brings predictability and stability. But the predictability we have now is not really what we're talking about. We're talking about rule of law. The predictability is if you go against this president, or you ever did in the past, then you will be punished. And if you subjugate yourself, you will be rewarded. That's the predictability, but that's the furthest thing from what rule of law in this country is.
But what does it say? And I know we're way past this, and I'm being Pollyanna about it. But what does it say that the Attorney General of the United States has no qualms about essentially admitting that? What does that mean for you as someone who spent her entire life defending, protecting, caring about the rule of law in this country?
So it is shocking to see an attorney general that is so willing to basically say, I have nothing to do. My judgment and what I think is right in terms of where the facts and the law lead and the way we should use the powers of the Department of Justice doesn't make any difference. I'm really just here to be sort of a tool of the president. And think back even to the first Trump administration, Bill Barr, even Jeff Sessions. They would not have done that, right? Bill Barr was very clear about we need to keep our integrity before the courts and before the American people. And, when all you do is whatever the president wants you do and you put no independent judgment on it, that is the furthest thing from the history, at least post-Watergate, of the Department of Justice.
Although let's not forget, Bill Barr is the one who sort of paved the way for use of the potential use of the Insurrection Act. I'll never forget a picture of him walking through Lafayette Square after the National Guard threw some protesters down on the ground and arrested them. But, George, I want to ask you about another headline that came out of the feverish news cycle this week, which was that Pam Bondi and Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche allegedly had no idea, were unaware that Lindsay Halligan was going to pursue the case against the indictment against Letitia James. This was a Wall Street Journal headline. They reported it earlier this week, but that she presented the case without informing them. People familiar with the matter told the Journal. And that Bondi and Blanche knew generally that Halligan was intended to seek an indictment of James, but at some point, but were caught off guard by the timing. What does this say about the current environment in the Justice Department? And Is this believable, or is this Pam Bondi deciding that she wants a little bit of distance, and this is a strategically leaked story? She doesn't want to be the Roy Cohn, or at least viewed as the Roy Cohn.
Oh, wow.
It's completely believable because Lindsay Halligan doesn't work for Pam Bondi. She doesn't work for the Justice Department. She works for Donald J. Trump. And she, I mean, she's not legally appointed. We can talk about that at some other time. But she knows who her boss is, and her boss is Trump. She's working for Trump. And her job is to do what Trump wants. And why not cut out the middleman? And organizational charts in a Trump administration have never meant anything, and they mean less, even less now.
Then organizationally speaking, Mary, what does it mean in terms of Bondi and Blanche's power?
Well, according to Department of Justice, binding guidelines on those within the department, a U.S. attorney could never do this without running this all the way up the flagpole. First of all, these are sensitive investigations, right? It's of a sitting state attorney general. That is something that would be briefed up to the deputy attorney general and the attorney general, and they would know and sign off on any charges. And even if you hadn't done that part, there's something called urgent reports, which anytime you're about to take any covert action in any investigation, including ask a grand jury to return an indictment, you've got to run that up the flagpole. So this says she's completely sidestepping them, and I think George has it right. She works for one person. There's no oath to the Constitution here. There's oath to one man.
So let's talk about that one man.
You see how me and Jackie let him. We knew you wanted it.
Thank you for that setup. Because that one man, Donald Trump, as we know, he loves social media, and he's up late. So at 12:38 this morning, he posted on Truth Social, quote, "The Biden FBI placed 274 agents into the crowd on January 6th. That's all in all caps. You see it on the screen. If this is so, which it is, a lot of very good people will be owed big apologies. What a scam. Do something. 3 exclamation points. President DJT." Now,
Sleepy Joe wasn't so sleepy. He was able to do things before he even became president.
He's a busy man. He's a busy man.
America, why are we not talking about this man's mental acuity? I remember during all of President Biden's term, all people talked about was his mental acuity. Is he all there?
The fumbles, the bumbles,
Is he
yeah.
capable of being president of the United States?
This is a president.
We should not be used to this, George. This is nuts. This is nuts.
He is nuts. We know this, okay?
As you said, Biden wasn't even president. So where are the doctors?
Okay,
where are the doctors?
Look, remember he gave that speech at the Lincoln Memorial, I guess it was 2019 or 2018, 2019, and he talked about Revolutionary War airports. This is not new. His brain is mush. It's always been mush.
Well, yes.
And that's not the worst part of it.
What?
Right? No, it's not the worst part of it. The fact that his brain is deteriorating is not the worst part of it. The first is he's never been right in the head. Okay, I mean this whole bit with the Nobel Prize and how he's mad that he didn't get the Nobel Prize because somebody else got it for actually doing things that Nobel Prize winners are supposed to do. That's always been his personality. He's always been off the wall with his narcissism and the lying and all of that.
All I'm saying, Mary,
it ain't getting better.
We laugh and joke about it, but I do think it is serious that if any other chief executive were to say something like that,
that's right.
In addition,
if one of us
all
said something like that,
okay, but I'm going to play devil's advocate here because I agree. George is right. We have been seeing these tweets since 2015, since the dawn of social media from the president.
Right. But that doesn't mean that we don't.
Doesn't mean it's not insane.
Right. And also, it doesn't mean that we don't call into question whether the person who is sitting in the Oval Office, the most powerful chair in the world, is mentally fit and capable of being there. If we're going to do that for Joe Biden, then we damn well better do it for President
And we're talking about somebody who's sending the military into our cities, right?
Okay, but yeah.
And I think part of the reason it doesn't get talked about so much is literally every 15 minutes, some new atrocity is happening, right? We're indicting political enemies. We're sending National Guard troops into major cities. Like we're killing people in the middle of international waters without any evidence of who they are. And so It would be nice if we could talk about things like, is he mentally fit? But I think we're just
barrage
constantly
of news.
reaction.
But I also think that this is part of the strategy. Muddy the waters,
Yes.
confuse people. People
Steve
do not live
Steve
in
Bannon says it.
fact-based
Yeah.
I don't know
media
that,
environment.
All
And
these
so
things can be true.
I don't know that it's a strategy. I think it's just what psychologists call malignant normality. When you become so used to something that's perverse that you don't notice it anymore. I mean, in 2017, there were reports that his own people, including Rod Rosenstein, were talking about, whoa, we got a 25th Amendment, this guy. It was only like 2 months into his first term.
Yeah.
All right? But, you know, we're so far beyond that now. And then now with the health thing, why did he take a second trip up to Walter Reed? Why aren't we talking about that? They're basically, you can do anything at the White House except for two things, basically. Advanced imaging, which they mentioned in the report that he had, like MRIs or PET scans, and surgeries. So why did he make that trip up there? They could have brought somebody down. If it was a CAT scan even, they have portable CAT scans. So what's going on with that?